Yo, good morning, people. What's going on? Welcome to United View, your Man United transfer update show. It's a little bit quiet, but there's a lot I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Paul Pogba. The board are split on him. I want to get your thoughts on that. I want to talk about Dan James potentially going out on loan as well. And I've got myself on in the background, which is mad annoying. So I'm just going to do that. I like my voice, but I don't like it that much. So Dan James potentially out on loan as well. A little bit of an update on Rafael Varane. But you know what? The biggest thing I actually wanted to talk about today was, right? It isn't even really transfers. I'll be deadly honest with you. It's our players getting their flowers. It's our players getting their flowers. In fact, you know what? Forget the Pogba thing right now. We'll do the transfer la-di-da-di-da boring stuff in a minute. Because there's developments, but it's not like, oh my God, something's really mad's going to happen now. I'm still buzzing from yesterday, and I don't know how you lot are feeling. I'm talking about our flowers, our players getting their flowers. And you know what? I haven't always been Harry Maguire's biggest fan, but what he's done in the last 9 months for club and country, have to big him up. Luke Shaw getting his flowers. Finally, yes, all right, we can get Gas and do Roberto Carlos and all that, but how good has he been? And you know what? How good is it? It's almost like we're so... And we should be concerned with who we're bringing in because we need to kick on. But you can forget about the players that we actually got now that are like proper good players, guys. Like what Luke Shaw's doing. Are we just gonna not talk about what he's really, really doing right now? His crossing is a joke. So I want to talk about our current players getting their flowers, as well as Paul Pogba, as well as Dan James. And you know what? England as well. Like I'm gassed. I honestly do think it's coming home. So a lot to get into, man. Vera Vlog says, Flex looking fresh. Big up yourself. Why don't we have more likes on the video? Says Jay Apal. Yeah, let's get more likes on the video. Let's do that. Man like Flex, keep up the good work. Says Vincent Brown. Big up Flex from the Pal. Says Ayush. And Devon says, Flex, can I be a mod? We've got quite a lot at the moment, so I'm sure we'll get some more in due course. And hope you're doing well, Flex, says Sulahan. Can I just big up everyone, actually? The last video we done out there in Old Trafford getting the fans' opinions, you guys absolutely loved that as well, which is what it's all about. It's about you guys' opinions, so enjoyed doing that, definitely. Najee's in the comments, he says, Flex, I can't lie, as a sound man, I can't help but feel you've lent KG your effect system. How's he going to have bounty killer effects on Kaboom? Hashtag Kaboom. KG probably don't even know that's bounty killer. That's the maddest thing. He was doing the mad sound effect thing yesterday on his show. Big up to KG. And make sure if you ain't subscribed to his channel, make sure you do that as well. Flex, the voice of reason. Good morning, says Keith Thomas. Good morning to you, bro. And Flex, thoroughly enjoyed watching you on the watch along on the Don Robbie channel, says Wayne. Yeah, big up, man. That was a lot of fun, especially because we won. All right, let's get into the Paul Pogba situation. And the latest developments-ish, kind of coming out from the back end of yesterday was Mino Raiola and PSG's position on Paul Pogba have come closer. It is possible he'll be playing his football in France next season. And that's from Santi JFM, French outlet. And then this morning, what we had from the same source is a journalist out there in France. And what he goes on to say is PSG have gathered all the parameters of his file, which is Paul Pogba. And Leonardo and Khalifa have exchanged with Paul Pogba to present their sporting project to him. And he's interested in the idea. He's interested in the idea of evolving in France. And then you've got the conflicting reports coming from here that our board is actually in two minds. And it's like a split decision. One want to cash in on Paul Pogba now. And some of the board or the people making the decisions want to re-sign Paul Pogba, and it's becoming a bit of a dilemma. Like, obviously, it was always going to be this. I'm not going to lie, guys. I think he's going to leave. I've kind of swung left, swung right. I've gone up, I've gone down, and I've had like different opinions on this throughout the whole summer as to what would happen when we get to the end of the season. And then I was kind of thinking, well, what's going to happen towards now? We're in the summer. What's the feeling now? He's gone out the Euros fairly early. He's on his holidays. We've signed Jadon Sancho. Is that a statement of intent? Can we get Varane over the line to entice Pogba to stay? I don't know, but I just feel like, I don't know, there's a bit of an energy where I just feel like he's going to leave. I do. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, look, I'm I've said all along, I want Paul Pogba to stay. I think we're a better team with him. And now we're going to add, if we add the players that it looks like we're going to add, well, we've already added Jadon Sancho, but if we add a Varane and we add a central midfielder of some sort who's good, I really think we can kick on next season with Paul Pogba there. But if it ain't to be and he comes out and says he wants to leave, I've said loads of times before, let him leave. Let him leave. Like, I'm not into this have a grumpy Paul Pogba because we didn't give him his move when he's got 1 year left when we can get the money for him that we want. Well, not that we want, but better money than if he doesn't sign. Do you know what I mean? If Paul Pogba says, I will not sign, if Paul Pogba walks into the office and says, guys, I will not sign the contract. Doesn't matter what you offer me, I will not sign the contract. Kind of like what Varane is reported to have done at Real Madrid, and hopefully it stays like that. But in Paul Pogba's situation, if he walks into the office and says, I won't sign the contract, I'm not here for that whole, well, you know what, we got Sancho, we got Varane, etc. At least we can have him for another year. We let him go for free next season. Forget that. Our squad is too imbalanced and we need to spend money. So I'm saying you let him go. Get the money for him. Now, the problem with that is though, because I'm coming from an ideal perspective, is the market and the climate. What do we do if we can't get the money that we want for Paul Pogba? Because he's going into the last year, which is our fault. What happens if someone comes in and says, well, he's in the last year of his contract, we're only going to give you 45 million. Something stupid like that, or 50 million was being quoted. We're not going to get really what Pogba's worth because we've allowed ourselves to get into this situation. But it's better than getting nothing. It's better than getting nothing, in my opinion. Flex watching from Senegal. Happy to see you again. Big up, man. Sell Pogba. He's overstayed his welcome, says New World Order. Wow. What's good, my G? How are you this morning, says Hussein. I'm good, man. I'm feeling very, very good. Flex, I find it funny that United View starts 15 minutes after United Stand, but I do love you both. There's nothing in that at all. You just talk about the news, bro. And hey, Flex, your subscribers are increasing. Hope you reach 100k this month. Wow. I don't think we'll reach 100k this month, but 100k is in the pipeline, hopefully. Immortal Gamer Mo says, what's going to happen to Donny? I hope he stays. Thanks for the super chat there, Immortal Gamer. Wasn't even going to talk about Donny today as well, but I did read there was like one report, so I don't really think it's news. But since you brought him up, it just reminded me that Real Madrid would want him as part of a Pogba swap deal, something like that. And I just feel like, look, if we've got no intentions of using Donny, like zero intentions, which is not the noises that are coming out, the noises that were coming out with even Fabrizio Romano said, I think a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, that, Solskjaer sees him as part of his plans. Donny's never upset the apple cart, kind of stuff that we already know. I don't think Donny's that type. Well, we know Donny's not that type of character. Look how he was treated last season, not getting no game time. He didn't run to the press and let rumours out and start moaning. He's just a team player. He just wants to play in the team. Do you know what I'm saying? I would, if he left, would I be upset? I would be like it was a waste, because why did we even make the transfer in the first place last season? But the squad looks like it might kick on quite quickly. Like I said, Jadon Sancho, Varane, you might get another midfielder. Where does Donny fit in? Do you know what I mean? But if Pogba leaves, and they might say we don't have time for a replacement, that could happen also as well. So I just think it's going to be mad interesting to see what really happens over the next couple of months or so. Pre-season's going to start soon. Players like Pogba are on their holidays and going to report back, probably on time, maybe a little bit, maybe a week after. And I don't know. I just feel like something's got to give in that department. It does. Something's got to give in the central midfield department if we want to bring one in. If Pogba stays as well, on top of that, I don't see how we bring in another one without letting one go. And I feel like it could be last in, first out in terms of Donny. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's saying Fred could be the one and that, but Fred's doing all right for Brazil, A bit of Pogba with the France vibe, do you know what I'm saying? KG's in the chat, apparently. Haven't seen him, but apparently he is. Watching from Cape Town, South Africa. I love that. If you just joined us, the latest on Paul Pogba was that basically Raiola is, having discussions with people at PSG. Also, Allegri said that he wants him at Juventus as well. So you've got that to contend with. And then also the subplot is that even the hierarchy at Man United are kind of umming and ahhing and saying, well, should we just cash in? And the other half are saying, let's keep him. Who knows? Who knows what the percentage of that is? I wouldn't even like to predict. But for me, I'm just like, look, we'll just wait to see what really materialises from that on a big one. I love that Pogba plays for France, but for United, he's not a patch on what he is for France, brother. Yeah, I think we all agree with that. But look at the team that France have. You know what I'm saying? Ethan van der Berg says, finally caught you on a live. Love the channel. Keep up the great work. Hashtag Free Streets. Hashtag New Age Journalist. Big up yourself. And that was a good super chat or a good comment. Let Pogba go. Keep Donny, in my opinion, says Immortal Gamer. And we should let him go. Take the 40 or 50 million, cash in, and get Camavinga. A lot of you lot are saying let him go. Pogba is world class. You just want to keep world-class players. I hear what you're saying there, JW. Letting Pogba go, this is from Sagnik, says, letting Pogba go would be a downgrade on our midfield. It would. If Pogba leaves any midfield, it's a downgrade. But what can you do? Keep him if you don't want to stay? You know, there is a lot of ignorance around how good Paul Pogba is. I do feel that. There's certain people in the fan base that are like, it's crap, mate. Well, he ain't never showed up for us, etc., and just disrespect how good he is. But where I do agree with those people is, if Paul Pogba leaves Man United's not gonna fold. Man United's not gonna collapse. Like we've seen players leave this club before. Like it's not. I don't think it is that deep. We do need to replace him, of course, and you can't get a like for like, so you do lose that quality. But we'll have to. Then it will be on the manager and the coaching staff to find a different way to play better as a team and not have to rely on the brilliance of Paul Pogba. Do you know what I mean? Manchester City don't have a Paul Pogba in their team. You know what I'm saying? Liverpool didn't have a Paul Pogba in their midfield when they won the league. What I'm saying is, I'm not disrespecting PP because I like him and I want him to stay. But if he does leave, you have to move. You have to move on. We've seen Beckham leave. We've seen Cantona leave. We've seen, or not play anymore. We've seen Ronaldo leave. Van Nistelrooy left. Do you know what I mean? Like, players will come and go. Roy Keane left. Paul Ince left. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, big players have left the club before. This is football and this is what happens. If Pogba, my thing is, and this is the last thing before I move on to the next thing. My thing is as simple as this. If Paul Pogba wants to leave, I know like you could argue he wanted to leave before and all that, but this time with a year left, if he wants to leave, put the advert out and say, okay, he's on the transfer list. Do you know what I mean? Or pretend that you're going to keep him so that the price doesn't go down too low. Because kind of, as soon as you say, all right, he's on the transfer list, the price comes down. But that's what you do. What's good, Flex? It's your boy DJ. Pogba has got to go. If he doesn't want to be here, the decision needs to be made ASAP. 55 million sale. Big up DJ. I think that's DJ. He knows who I mean if it's DJ. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Pogba wants to go, let him go. Donny will replace him. I want to see Donny play more. If we're gonna go down that road, what I would say is I think there would need to be a formation change, because if you're saying that Pogba is going to be replaced by Donny, I think we need to play a three-man midfield. I don't think you could have two sitting and then play Bruno just running around doing his own thing as a second striker. You'd need a lot of balance, and I think you'd need to bring Bruno into a midfield three, which would completely change how we play. And I can't see Ollie doing that anyway. I can't see Ollie doing that. Ollie wants players or their agent who think they're bigger than the club. Pogba go cut price is still better than for free or a huge new contract. That's another thing, says VK from Bangkok. Versus people, what are you lot saying on signing Paul Pogba, on re-signing him on a big contract? It's a big question because he was basically saying take some money from him now is better than letting him go on a free or give him a new contract. If we re-sign Paul Pogba, make no mistakes, that has to be what? A 3-year deal, probably 3 to 4 year deal on, I'm going to say, upwards of 300k. Has to be. Potentially 400k. I saw quoted. Are we saying that? We want to, because this is Pogba's last, like he's a world-class player, but if he moves now to, say, a Real Madrid or PSG and stays there for 3 or 4 years, this is his last big, massive contract. Are we saying that we want to invest into Paul Pogba and spend 400k a week on him, just keep him? I would give him the contract and then keep building. I would. But what are you lot saying? My only fear is United could let him go for free just like Herrera. It's better to cash out now if he really wants to leave. I hear that. if he if Oli does get sacked in the season and we get Zidane, we could see the true Pogba. That's thinking really far in advance, but it's true. We love football says road to 100k flex. Big up yourself. It is definitely that. And he said, would you pay 60 million for Rice? Don't think he's worth it in my opinion. Good player though. Would I pay 60 million? I'll pay 50 to 60. I wouldn't pay more than that. That's the reason why I don't think Declan's should be the one for us if he's going to cost 100 million. I'm not trying to spend 100 million on Declan Rice. I think even if you ask Declan Rice right now, if you say, bro, are you worth 100 million quid? Even he would probably say, nah, I'm not, man. I'm not. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy, but he's not worth 100 million pounds. For me, that just puts me off. If you're saying that Declan Rice is worth 100 million pounds, you can't be telling me that there isn't better value in the market elsewhere. Like just even in a different league. Someone who can actually do what Declan Rice can do as well. Do you know what I mean? In world football, you're trying to say there's not another youngster that can do what Declan Rice does. There is. There has to be. Don't ask me who it is. I'm not a scout, but I'm just saying, you can't tell me that the best value for money in the market is 100 million pounds for Declan Rice. Nah, mate. I'm not having it. I'm sorry. I know people look and say he's great. He does this. He does that. Nah, I don't buy that. I think he's good. I just think he's good. It's not 100 million pounds. The true Pogba left for Juventus. Basuma and we roll. Yeah, I'd rather spend 35 million on Basuma. And you lot know my thoughts on Basuma. I do think he's good, but I still got question marks. But I'd still rather get him for 35 million, 40 million than Declan Rice for 100. Me personally. Definitely not worth 100 mil. Sure, even with the English tax. 100%. Oli is obsessed with getting a striker, but it's funny that he doesn't want Mbappe. I probably can't afford him. Harry Kane worth 100 mil. He proved it yesterday. Yeah, Harry Kane is worth 100 mil. Harry Kane is worth 100 mil. I agree with that. I like Pogba, but his time at Man United is done. We need balance of talent and hard work, says Hussein. And I would sell him and go for Grealish, says Noran. Listen, I think City are going to get Grealish, man, and that's going to be peak for a lot of us. And they might get Kane. Peak. Ray S says Sancho at United attractive for Haaland. Haaland will put. Look, I don't think Chelsea are coming in for him, and there's not really a lot of noises from that. But I mean, look, things change very quickly. But I got a feeling Haaland will stay. If Haaland stays there for another year, that would be perfect. That would be perfect for us because, like you said, there, Ray S. Thanks for the super chat. Like Ray S. just said, there is that Haaland connection with Sancho. But more importantly, it gives us a chance to see out Cavani, who I saw. I think it was Andy Mitten. Big up to Andy Mitten. Andy Mitten said that. He saw that Cavani, he said that there's talks that Cavani's only going to play 60% of the games next year, which is about right. You know what I mean? He probably played about that last year, didn't he? I mean, the second half of the season, he played a lot more, but the first half wasn't that great in terms of how much he played. But 60% for a player his age is probably about right. But in those 60% of games, he will do damage. I don't mind that. But the end of next season, he's definitely going to go. And then, I know we're kind of jumping forward, but then is when we need to get the striker, like the striker for the next 4 or 5 years. And that is going to be a Haaland. That is going to be a Kane if he doesn't go to City. If those two players stay there, then we can come in next year. But right now, we've got to get other shit sorted. And I think it was the right move. Flex, thoughts on Ruben Neves? Again, I just think he's okay. I think he's just good. I don't think he moves very well. I don't think he's got good legs. But he's good on the ball. Decent at set pieces, got a decent strike, but for United, I'm not sold on it. I don't know whether I'm just pessimistic or whether you lot agree with me in terms of like just saying, you know, is it a situation where I just don't buy into hype all the time. I'd rather just look deeper to see what would he's doing that at Wolves and he's doing this here, but what would he do at Man United with the expectancy level up here? We're looking at players like McTominay and Fred and saying, like, you need to be better on the ball, you need to make things happen, you need to be in position, you need to do this, you need to do that. It is so different playing centre midfield for Man United. And that's no disrespect to Wolves. It isn't, but they're a counter-attacking team. Do you know what I'm saying? They play different football. I don't know about Ruben Neves. I really don't. I would like Camavinga to partner Paul Pogba. Yeah, that would be good. But again, that's gone kind of quiet, Camavinga. Next bit I want to talk about real quickly is a little bit of an update on Raphael Varane, basically saying that the move would need to be accelerated now that Varane has agreed to join Manchester United. I mean, look, the way I see this is there's still a long way to go in this deal. I haven't seen anything drastically change. What we're seeing is the kind of same repetitive lines kind of coming out, which is not really much movement, which is that Varane has not said he wants to stay. He's rejected. So just quickly, yeah. So even Romano yesterday was saying, Man United are in contact with Real Madrid for Varane. So we know that. No news there. No official bid yet. Won't be a quick deal. No news there. Personal terms won't be an issue. Real still hope to convince Varane to stay, but he wants to try something new. He's top of Man United's list as centre-back since months ago. No news. Do you know what I'm saying? Personal terms won't be an issue, though. That is good. That is good, because that means that it's similar to the Jadon Sancho situation. And that is the fact that we're talking to the player, and before wasting our time going to ask for bids and ask how much the fee would be, you got to check with the player that they actually want to come. There ain't no point sending an email to Real Madrid saying we want to bid for Varane, and then you ring Varane and say, right, they want to accept the bid, and he goes, yeah, but I don't want to come to you, mate. I want to go PSG. So that's fine, but I do think that's positive. But I just don't think that's news. Like we already know this. We already know Varane wants to come to us. We already know that we're early stages of talking to him, and as for Fabrizio Romano, the Here We Go King has confirmed not even a day ago. It's as you were. Do you know what I'm saying? It's as you were. So there's a little bit of an update, but it's more so as you were on that. JB Park says, hello Flex, would you rather lose Pogba free next season or get something like a Varane swap? See, people was asking that for me because the Varane fee is only 50 million. Well, I suppose Pogba's only market value is 50 million, isn't it? But I don't think it should be. It should be a little bit more than that. I just think we should have enough to just go and buy Varane. We should, with the players that we're going to sell, or we should bring in a fee. I think we can raise 50 million for Varane. Easy. I'm talking about the player, like, forget Pogba. If we sold Jesse Lingard, who looks like he potentially could go to West Ham, Diogo Dalot, and what's his name? Andreas Pereira. That's 3 players there, yeah? Not even including Paul Pogba, not including someone crazy like Martial for big money. Just those 3. That's not far off £50 million. It's not. Jesse Lingard's what, £30 million? Maybe even 35. So there's your 30 to 35. Andreas Pereira is 15 million. So that's basically your 45/50 million there. And Dalot can go for like 15, 20 million as well. So, you know what I mean? So just off selling them 3, you could have enough for Varane. Do you know what I mean? And they're players that, Dalot wasn't here all last season. So we know what it's like to have a backup, not have a backup right back there, even though we need to get one. Jesse Lingard wasn't here last season, wasn't playing, so that doesn't affect us, and neither was Pereira. They're players that it's not even like, but if you sell them, the squad depth and the subs bench. No, they weren't even here last year, and they can and by freeing up players who weren't even here last year, we can get a player who can walk straight into our starting 11, a world class one. So for me, I'm not trying to hear a Pogba Varane swap, because I know that with who we've got here. And they're not even, and 2, they're not players, no disrespect to these players, but they're not players that I think you'd have to force out the door. Dalot wants to play football and is probably going to want reassurances of playing that. Ollie's not going to be able to give it to him. All right, let me go to Milan on a permanent. Probably wants to do that. Pereira has already said, I want to stay here in Italy at Lazio or wherever he's going to go to. So he knows he's not in the plans. 15 million, thank you. And big up to Jesse. I mean, there's conflicting stuff that Jesse wants to come back and fight for his place. But if Ollie sits him down and says, listen, we've got Jadon now as well. I don't see where you're going to get that game time, Jesse. And if you want to go have aspirations of going to the World Cup next year, then you're going to have to play football. And hopefully Jesse will make the right decision for his career. But again, we wouldn't have to force Jesse out the door. And you can get about 30 million for him. So, 25, 30, yeah. So they're not even players that will be really difficult to shift. It's not like you're saying to Donny van der Beek, you're on a huge contract, you're only 1 year in, but we want you to leave. It's not like saying to Victor Lindelof, who's been a massive part of what we've been doing, we want you to leave now. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see about that. Why do we find it hard to sell players, Flex? Because I just think because we manage their contracts badly. We end up investing into players on a big scale that we don't necessarily have an intention of keeping for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? Or we change we change our opinion on them. I say we, the people who make the decisions, or the manager. Do you know what I mean? Or we do it without the managers even say so, potentially. Like, do I really think that Ollie was over the moon that, what's it called? Phil Jones got a long deal. I mean, look, Axel Tuanzebe signed under Jose, under extension under Ollie. So did Pereira, I believe. And then all of a sudden now these players are now going to be getting moved on. Sometimes you have to protect your assets as well. So if you do want to sell them, doesn't mean that if you sign an extension, it means that I want you to play in my first team. Sometimes it is business decisions. The whole reason that we're even able to sell Pereira after a loan out for a decent price is probably because we gave him that contract, and he's got 2 years left on his deal, maybe, I think, maybe one, I'm not sure. So it all plays a part, but a mixture of us making bad decisions and business decisions as well. Just real quickly on Dan James, there's talks that Graham Potter wants him at Brighton. They want him permanently, but we'll take a loan if we don't entertain it on permanently. Do I think that'll be a good move for Dan James? Yeah, kind of. Like, I think he'll do well there. I think he could play, no disrespect to Brighton, I think he could play a little bit higher up than that. I know a lot of people say Dan James is this, Dan James ain't this, he's not that, he's crap, he's this. No, I think Dan James has a purpose, and his purpose is either coming on late in games for us as a squad player. I don't mind Dan James as a squad player, but with the acquisition of Sancho, we still got Ahmad, depending on who goes on loan. How much game time is he going to get? Rashford on the left, Martial might have to spend some time on the left. Greenwood's going to play up front a little bit more, I dare say, and on the right hand side, he's getting further down the pecking order. So if Dan James can't get any guarantee of game time, then I think he should go on loan, definitely, and he definitely should be in the Prem. So if he went to Brighton, would I be upset? No, I think he could do all right, but I think he could play. I think he could play for a better team than that. I think Dan James could play for like. He's a better team than them. I think he could play for like Newcastle. He could play for Villa. I think Dan James could do a job at Villa. I think in a decent, he could play at Leeds. Do you know what I mean? Like, Dan James can. He can play for those teams. We've seen it. We've seen him be, look at how he played for Wales. Played quite well. Do you know what I'm saying? He's getting better. Not our level. West Ham. Someone said, yeah, he could play at West Ham. But then again, they got Bowen, potentially Lingard, Ben Rama. But yeah, along that, Everton, someone said as well. Flex would love to get Jack Grealish and keep Pogba. Wow. O'Neill Merrick says that. Wouldn't we all love that? Connect Real says Leeds would be perfect. And Thunder and Joy says no way 30 mil for Jesse. He has 1 year left on his contract. He's nearly 29. Get real. All right, Thunder. But you got to remember, he's played for Man United, he's played for England, and he's a very experienced player. And he's had a good end to last season. What, in your opinion, then, Thunder and Joy, what was realistic for Jesse? If you're saying get real, would you say what? Is 20 million more like it? Would you say that? Let me know in the comments. It's interesting to know what you feel. Are you sick of all the Pogba rumours? Yeah, kind of. I think we all are. But it's this what goes with Paul Pogba, isn't it? This channel is epic, says Seth, big up yourself. And add Dan James and Garner to the loan for Basuma deal. Give them Garner and Dan James, and we give them a bit of money as well for Basuma. Yeah, 100%. Flex just stole his funder. Who's funded us still? Jesse in his prime wouldn't be 30 million, at most 20 million. Okay, fair enough, says Women. And Flex, why is Rashford not starting? Because he hasn't been that good. He hasn't been good enough to start. He's been out of sorts back end of the season, wasn't playing too well. Foden was playing immense. No point, I'd see why he should be starting at the time. Sterling's been there, done it for England, even though he had not the greatest of domestic seasons, but look what he's done. Grealish, unbelievable towards the end of the season and before he got injured. Mount, great season, won the Champions League and played really well. I can't argue with what Gareth Southgate's doing. That's one thing I have started to do with Gareth Southgate, is just go, you know what? Let's leave him to it, because he's proven us wrong. We're in the semi-finals of the Euros. We ain't conceded a goal. At the end of the day, as English fans, we've always got something to say about this player, that player. I've done it. But now I've just gone, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. We can't say shit. Gareth Southgate has got us doing well. Whether it's the football you want to see, whether it's the football that you think is not good, at the end of the day, and it's just, obviously I'm talking to us England fans here, we're England. When have we ever been expansive? Even when we had the golden generation of Lampard, Scholes, Rio, Beckham, fucking everyone else. Do you know what I'm saying? Scholes. I think I said him already. When we had top draw players, Rooney, Owen, like we weren't even expansive then and mashing up teams at tournament level. We weren't. So I just think we're doing in England, but we're doing it in a bit more efficiently. And this squad, I proper like the squad. That's what I will say. Like the characters in the squad, the balance in the squad. You look at him. Gareth brought on Jude Bellingham. Wasn't scared to do that. Gave him a run out. Calvert-Lewin. Brought Mount back in. All right, cool. But he didn't use Grealish. But again, with 4-0 cruising, brought Henderson in. He scored. Like, what can you say? Aaron Lennon, someone said. AMG2 says, remember Aaron Lennon? Yeah, he was all right in his prime. Super fast as well. But, at the end of the day, I've been very, very critical of Gareth Southgate. Very critical. He plays boring football. I don't trust him to play attacking enough, etc., etc. Have to shut my mouth. Do you know what I mean? I have to get off his back. He's changed. He's played the right team for the right games. He's not been afraid to mix it up. Gave Sancho a start yesterday. Funny how Sancho gets his move sorted, then he gets a start. But when you think about it, though, it is process of elimination. He's been quite fair. Foden's had the best season from the right-hand side, and just in general, so he got the nod for the first 2 games. Flattered to deceive. Saka's had probably the next best season. Maybe not over Sancho in Dortmund, but we move. But he's a very good player, and he took his chance. He plays the next game. He gets a knock. Who's next in line on the right-hand side? Jadon Sancho. Rashford plays from the left. So, on the left-hand side, we've had Sterling, who scored in every single game, apart from yesterday. And he still got an assist. So how are you going to change that? Then it's Jack Grealish. Then it's Rashford. So look, he's actually playing it quite fair. Thanks for the super chat, says Somi Diap. Somi Diap says, there's really no difference between Sterling's Euros and Rashford's season. Not playing too well, but coming up with important goals and assists. The slander Rashford is getting is really unfair. That's a fair point. I hear you saying that, basically saying that they've both had poor seasons. And in theory, Marcus Rashford still had over 20 goals. But me personally, I think it's maybe because I've seen Rashford play really bad towards the end of the season. I don't watch City game in, game out. And also it's under Gareth Southgate as well. Raheem Sterling has done it for Gareth Southgate. What is it? I think I saw a stat. He's got like 17 goals in the last however many games, 20 odd games, Raheem Sterling. And it's tournament football. The manager's going to go with someone that he feels he can trust in it. And I'm not saying you don't trust Marcus Rashford, but when he's obviously looking at between the two of them, he's obviously gone with Raheem for a reason, and it's worked. But I take your point there. I take your point in terms of Sterling had a bad season and had bad form, but look, he produced it at the international level. How do we know that Rashford wouldn't have done the same thing? My only thing that I would say to you, Samayu Deep, hope I've said your name right. The only thing I would say on top of that is that we could see that Rashford was burnt out, though. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you're a Man United fan. I think you probably are by saying Rashford is getting treated unfairly. He was burnt out. He's got this injury that we're waiting for him to hopefully fix somehow, whether he gets time off, whether he gets his operation, whatever. Sterling's one was just bad form. It wasn't burnout. He wasn't carrying an injury where he visibly looks like he's off the pace. It was just, maybe arriving at England, fresh scenery. He's taking the ball by the horns. But I think that's the biggest difference between the Sterling and the Rashford thing. The fact that Rashford looked almost dead on his feet. Bruno and Rashford should be rested. I agree with that, Kush. Already love this channel. It's so authentic, says Thutulani. And Bruno the Magician says, I think we could see Sancho left wing and Martial right wing until Rashi gets fit. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Rashford will probably need a rest. Cavani's going to probably need a rest. And yeah, it was just going to leave Martial maybe needing to leave the line, along with Mason, and then we'll see where Sancho plays. But Sancho's going to go deep into the tournament, so he's going to be left back late as well. The last thing I want to talk about is just our players getting flowers. How good has Luke Shaw been? There was a lot of slander on Luke Shaw's name. People calling him names. People used to make fun of him, say he's fat, he's overweight, he can't run. Now look, maybe Luke Shaw has trimmed up a little bit. I don't know. I even when Luke Shaw was getting called overweight and all this stuff, and a potato and all this stuff he used to get called, just disrespectful stuff. I was always like, I got no problem with his body type. I just want to see him be more direct. It's all I've ever said about Luke Shaw. He's got more to give. He's defensively always pretty sound, but he just needs to believe in himself a bit more and give a bit more going forward. My God, is he doing that? His development over the last 18 months has been nothing short of unreal. Unreal. Do you know what I'm saying? We're nearly at 1,000 people watching live as well. If we can push that up as well, guys. Make sure you guys smash a like on the video. If you just joined us, make sure you have. We're nearly at 900 people watching and we've only got 300 likes. Let's push them likes, mods. Let's get the people on liking. But yeah, what Luke Shaw's done, like, he's the best left back in the country by far from last season, by far. And what I love most is that he's brought that form into the Euros. And to think he didn't even start the first game. And since then, since the second game against Scotland, he's just been unbelievable. And the crosses, we always used to talk about crosses coming from the left. He needed to be better, etc., etc. And he's just bang on the money. Even on the Don Robbie watch along I was doing, I don't know if you guys saw it. All of them, especially Robbie and his brother, they were just giving it about Luke Shaw. Lee Judges was winding me up, and Expressions was winding me up. But the slander on it, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. He's going backwards all the time. I'm like, he's just keeping the ball. He's choosing the right moment of when to go forward and when to play like that. And look what he did. Look what he did. V-Time Media Production says, watching you live for the first time all the way from Melbourne, Australia. I would like to see more of you in KG. I am just hoping we buy a CDM. Yeah, guys, you guys are going to get the Flex and KG show as usual. And thank you, man, watching all the way from Melbourne. It's probably some crazy time right there. It's probably night time there now, isn't it? And someone said, what did you think of... it was about... Where is that gone? It's about Jadon Sancho. Here you go. We Love Football says, Flex, Sancho's performance gassed you yesterday, ? He's moving like prime Hazard. I wouldn't say his performance gassed me, but I thought he was good. He took a little while to get into the game, but he showed us little glimpses of what he can bring. Like, he should have scored as well when Luke Shaw set him up. On the swivel, he had the whole goal, just couldn't put it in one of the corners. Hit it right at the keeper. What I will say about Jadon, obviously it's one game, and I've been watching him from at Dortmund anyway, but I think you just need to kind of get yourself to a place where you know what his game is. His game isn't like step over, cross and we score, or go past 3 man and stick it in the top corner consistently. That's not his game. Like, he's just a very intelligent player. His link-up's really good. The way he receives the ball on the half-turn is very, very good. A couple of times he received the ball on the half-turn and then he comes in off that right-hand side and came across the pitch. He initiates moves and he's not afraid to make the simple, correct pass, which Ricky would love. But that's what it's about. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's really about. And that's why I like him. And on top of that, he has the X factor. On top of that, he can brap 3 man, like you saw when they tried to take him out with that little bit of skill he had in the first half. So glad you're doing your thing. Supported you from day one, says Chambers United. Big up yourself. I appreciate that. Pure quality and consistency points winner. And what do you think of Brozovic? How good is he as a player? I do like him. Be interesting to see if our interest in him is concrete. I haven't seen too much on that, so I won't talk loads about that or report on that until maybe we see a little bit more in the media. But I like him as a player for sure. I do. The last person I want to talk about is Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire. Firstly, I got it wrong in terms of, well, yeah, I did. I'm not afraid to say that. I do think it's important to be able to do that as a fan. Like when he went through that situation at Greece, and this just proves, I learned my lesson from that. It just proves why we shouldn't, like, when we don't know the full story of what's happened, we should always just chill. And I don't think I was madly overcritical, but even me, I can pull myself up and say, you know what? When that did happen, I remember saying, like, I think it's really difficult for him to still be the captain. And I didn't even have all the facts. And God knows what's happened there. We would never know. But what it did show was the mentality of the guy. It showed that, he's gone and had an awful start to the season with this stuff in Greece. A lot of the fan base were on him. I was saying he shouldn't be the captain anymore. We're all kind of saying Bruno should be the captain. That's the first thing. Within Man United, he's trying to find his feet. And he's trying to become an influential player in the squad. And he's contending against, people like us saying, we paid 80 million, we've been bumped, etc., etc. He's contended with all of that. And if you're being real with yourself, yeah, he might have his limitations where he's slow or might not mark the front post, or Lindelof and him don't really make the best partnership. But guess what? You know what he has done over the last 8 months? He's got his head down, and he's become an integral part for Man United and England. He's commanding in the air. He steps out with the ball from the back. He's aggressive in the tackle. Positionally, he's quite good. And he's growing as a real influential player to the point where nothing but total respect on Harry Maguire's name. Do you know what I mean? Is he as good as a Rio and a Vidic in their prime and stuff like that? No, he's not. But I tell you what he is doing. He's proven doubters wrong. Two, you can always argue that the 80 million is mad overpriced, but he's getting closer to clawing back what we paid for him. And like we saw when he got injured back end of last season, we weren't looking as good, guys. It's as simple as that. We weren't looking as good. Same with England. Big up to Tyrone Mings. He done well in a couple of games. But then Harry Maguire's come in, took it to another level. So I don't care if you've got a Harry Maguire agenda or you still don't think he's good enough or you still don't think this, that or the other. You've got to have ability to say, you know what? He's done his thing. He's made himself really important for us and he's made himself really important for England. And you know what? I love that. And I think you have to have the ability to say that. Do you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with saying that. And he's scoring goals as well. You know, what a header that was last night as well. That is what we want to see from Harry Maguire more often, which I'm sure he can do. For Brighton Maguire, we fell off a cliff, LOL, says Ali Parilan. And 85 million for Maguire, says Marlo Stanfield. Look, that's what I'm saying about the price. It is what it is. Was it too much money? I guess it was. He should have been something like 60 million. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe 50. But at the end of the day, I think with the right partner, he'll be formidable. He looks okay next to Stones. Kush says, no, I don't rate Maguire. I put money on Maguire's pace still being an issue. His pace can... Look, in a one-on-one situation, Kush, I agree with what you're saying. Of course his pace is going to be an issue, which is why you need the perfect partner next to him. You get Varane with that recovery pace coming around the back, perfectly fine. He plays in a back four that has... or a back three that had Kyle Walker on the turn, even though, like I said, he was next to John Stones, but he's there to cover. It helps. Harry Maguire doesn't get exposed with quick, strong players around him. So, yeah, one-on-one against the fast player, of course Harry Maguire is always going to be in trouble. But why you got to rate him is John Terry wasn't the quickest, but what the top centre-halves do, which I think Harry Maguire is starting to grow into, is if they are playing against a fast player, they don't end up in one-on-one situations too often. In a foot race too often, do you know what I'm saying? And positionally, they're in a position where they can sniff the danger before a quick player is able to turn and run at them. Don't get me wrong, if a quick player does turn and run, and remember Bergwijn last year, when he gave Harry Maguire a new one, when he turned and ran at him, he couldn't keep up with him. It happens. I remember, what's his face? Calvert-Lewin doing it and Richarlison when they play two up top when they come to Old Trafford. So it can happen, but with Varane there, that's where it's not all on one, do you know what I'm saying? I trust in Martial, he'll be... on fire, trust me, says Joshua John. That's going to be interesting what Martial does this year as well. And I still trust in Martial. Oh, you said that already. And yeah, there you go. So that's your latest Man United transfer news. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. You lot comments on the video we done yesterday was sick. We're going to be doing a lot more videos out and about like that. It's another exciting week coming for you guys here on United View. And roll on the semi-finals as well for England, man. Keep giving the flowers to our players. They're doing their thing. Smash a like on the video, guys. We're at 1,000 people watching. We're still only not even over 500 likes. So let's get those likes up as well. Just before I finish off. And big up. Chris says great show. And see you later. Yeah, peace. I'm out of here.